breaking news in former FBI Director James Comey's fight to get the case against him dismissed. Just moments ago, the Justice Department acknowledged in court they never presented the grand jury with a copy of the final indictment. Earlier, we learned the Deputy Attorney General's office had given orders not to disclose the memo recommending that Comey should not be prosecuted. Comey's accused of lying to Congress when he testified that he never authorized other FBI officials to leak information to the press. Now Comey's lawyers are asking a federal judge to dismiss the case, saying he's only indicted because he criticized the president, while prosecutors say he can't prove the case was solely brought to punish him for his criticism. Let's bring in ABC News Washington Bureau Managing Editor Catherine Faulders from outside court and ABC News legal contributor James Sample for more. Hi, Catherine. What's the latest here?
Yeah, so this was a pretty remarkable hearing in this case. Of course, it is now over, but those two revelations that you mentioned, one, the judge grilling the government on whether or not there was a declination memo. Now, what does that mean? It's the memo that we exclusively reported on a couple months back, saying that prosecutors at the time drafted and prepared a declination memo, which essentially concluded that there was no probable cause, that there wasn't enough evidence to secure a conviction at trial, hence why the former U.S. attorney here, who Trump ousted, was ousted by the president because he wouldn't bring those charges. So that was number one. And the fact that the government attorney revealed in court that he was under orders, essentially, from the Deputy Attorney General's office not to tell the court whether or not a declination memo existed or not. Now, we know through our sources that it does exist and have reported on it. And what was remarkable, number two, about this hearing was the issue of the grand jury. Now, we've been talking a lot about this week. It's come up from a separate judge, a magistrate judge, who raised serious concerns over the government's conduct as it related to the grand jury. And what was revealed and confirmed by the government and Lindsay Halligan herself, who went and stood up at the witness stand to answer questions, was that the grand jury did not see the papers. The indictment that is on the court document right now charging Comey with 2 counts, that the grand jury did not see that document. The full grand jury did not. So we learned that the foreperson of the grand jury saw that document, and then another grand juror, I'm not sure who that person is. But the reality is that the document that was returned was not reviewed by the full grand jury. The government's argument there, I just want to make clear what the government's argument about that is. They said, well, the grand jury signed off on the 2 charges that ultimately appear in that grand jury indictment, but they didn't see the physical paper. So that is going to be a serious issue and central to this moving forward.
James, how big is that admission that they never gave the grand jury a final copy of this indictment?
It is significant. The reporting is significant. The exchange that Catherine described in terms of what happened in court today is, at least in my experience, unprecedented. And in fact, the other day, the magistrate judge described this territory, if in fact this is exactly what he said occurred, as uncharted territory, in the sense that it's amateur hour. I mean, that phrase that's not a legal term of art, but that's exactly what this has been from the very beginning, in the sense that for the Deputy Attorney General to order the line prosecutor on this case now not to reveal whether there was a memo declining to prosecute, there's no reason not to reveal that to the judge in this hearing. That's number one. This idea that the grand jurors actually signed off on the incorrect piece of paper, that just shouldn't happen. So we don't have a whole lot of precedent as to whether that's consequential or not. But add all of that, add today's developments, and those 2 developments are new, to all of the other previously identified flaws in this indictment. Is Lindsay Halligan's appointment unlawful to begin with? Was there privileged information revealed to the grand jury improperly? Was the grand jury misinformed about James Comey's Fifth Amendment rights? What is this a vindictive prosecution? The statute of limitations. This case is about to be lost before it even gets started.
Catherine, what was it like in the courtroom as all of this was happening?
So I was inside the courthouse in the overflow courtroom. My colleague Alex Mallon was in the courtroom, and he said that specific to these two moments that we described, the revelation about the orders from the Deputy Attorney General not to reveal whether or not there's a declination memo, and then when Halligan took the stand and the revelations about, obviously, the grand jury conduct, Alex said you could basically hear a pin drop inside the courtroom, that Comey's family was there, and right when Halligan revealed that information about the full grand jury not reviewing the final indictment, they began whispering in each other's ears and smiling a bit, presumably acknowledging amongst themselves that this could very well get dismissed based on what Halligan and the government was revealing in court. It was also quite striking when she took the stand. I think people were pretty shocked by that. Her behavior towards the judge was described to me, as I was outside during this period, but was described as a bit combative at first. And then obviously she revealed the information that we're discussing here. So I do think that this judge obviously approached this with some skepticism, to say the least. I'm not sure when we will see a ruling. He's ordered briefing papers due, I believe, by the end of the day on a separate issue. So surely he's taking this under consideration. Whether or not a ruling comes today, we'll have to see.
James, what else are you watching for in this case?
Well, we are waiting a ruling prior to Thanksgiving from Judge Curry, the different judge who was considering the lawfulness of Lindsay Halligan's appointment before Thanksgiving. Catherine reported that that's what the judge said, that we can expect a written ruling on that. That's the joint motion filed by Comey and Letitia James. And we've already seen 3 other prosecutors in similar interim appointment scenarios have their appointments declared to be unlawful. The difference here is that because Lindsay Halligan was essentially alone in prosecuting these cases and over the objections even of the outgoing or prior U.S. attorney and the line prosecutors, because she was alone, that itself could be fatal to these cases, even apart from the matters that we're discussing today. So there are a lot of potential pitfalls, procedural pitfalls, you might say, that could stop this case before it really gets going.
Catherine Faulders, James Sample, thank you both.